This here is a very interesting new Skoda SUV. And would people that drive a combustion engine actually consider this here now as an electric vehicle? Not because it's an EV, but just because it's a good SUV. And also, is it a better ID3, so to speak, because it's on the same platform like the VW ID3, but more SUV-ish? And then there's the bigger brother, the Skoda Enyaq. Is that one obsolete now because this one here has a better price-performance ratio? Has the Skoda Elroq the potential to be the best compact EV? We're going to find out everything about that today here with Thomas Nautical Fuel in 4K, full screen, full length. Beautiful island of Majorca, and the Skoda Elroq here in the front, closed grille. On the top level with the daytime running light. Yeah, it's the trend at the moment in the industry. They split then the daytime running light from the main headlamp unit. Optional also then with matrix LED function. Silver is the color here for today. Different ones are of course available. And the Skoda design language now is less logos, but more, yeah, just the letters, for example, here already in the front. What do you think about this design trend? Tell me in the comments. Then remember, it's an ID3 sibling, but sits a little bit higher and has a length of 4.49 meters or 177 inches. By that, of course, way shorter than the Skoda Enyaq, which is more like this larger SUV style and then the sibling to the ID4 and the ID5. Here, 19 to 21 inch wheels. These here are in the middle, 20 inch. And you can also get the DCC, the adaptive suspension. We're also going to test it here today for a better span between comfort and sportiness. Other than that, a base suspension. And in the Sportline, the sportier look, you would also get a lower suspension. They use the namings for the versions of 50, 60, 85, 85X. The latter one with the all-wheel drive. But the battery capacities are not identical in the net scale to these figures. And yeah, so you just have to remember them. I can name them to you right now. We also have already the inserts. But if you are unsure about some technical specifications, we always put them in the video description and also into a separate comment. So you can also read them later on again and study them for a longer period of time if you want to do that. Leonard has like, who would study car facts? Yeah, me. That's what I do for a living and also for fun. So it's a 52 kilowatt hours net, the smallest battery, then 59 kilowatt hours in the middle. And then you go to the 85 versions, which have 77 kilowatt hours net. I would always recommend to go for the biggest battery available, especially if you should buy one. Most electric vehicles are leased at this moment. And then, of course, for the highest range, this is also the most clever solution. So 85 and 85X always have the 77 kilowatt hours net battery. Here we have our rear-wheel drive version today. So it says then 85 without an X. And that's also, I think, the best choice because low turning circle, I can show you around that later on, 9.3 meters in a turning circle will be 10.8 with the all-wheel drive. So that's a disadvantage for the all-wheel drive. And the acceleration figure is always at 6.6 seconds to 100 kilometers an hour. From 80 to 120 kilometers an hour, the 85X version would have a slight advantage. Yeah, but it's not the biggest one. So actually rear-wheel drive is a good choice here. And the acceleration figures for the smaller battery versions are also a little bit higher. You'll also find that in our detailed specifications. Yeah, I would say as it stands here right now is also a very realistic spec with loft interior, soon more to that, and modern tail lamp signature, also with this segmented styling here. And I can also activate the turning indicators. You can see more about that because when we have the matrix LED, then you can see we also have this cascading function here already in the rear. And yeah, Leah can show you around a little bit of the island here. Beautiful spot we found here for you, right? It's really, really nice. Yeah, it's not too warm, you know, the wind is already a little bit chilly and so on. It's winter time here anyway, but here you can already see in the front, you have then the replacement of the turning indicator or the hazard lights where you usually see the daytime. That's good that I stand here, right? I put some shadow on the lights so you can see it a little bit better, right? Yeah.
Oh, the cute Elron.
The Elron, yeah. Yeah, it was so a lot of guys were making fun of that because like Elroq, and then everyone was like, it's Elron. And what's also funny that when you write the Skoda names, often the autocorrect, for example, of Apple Notes, or when you put it in a text file or something, the autocorrect somehow changes it. And I type in Elroq with a Q at the end, and then it makes like Elrond. It's like, no, I want to write Elroq. Delete it again, put a Q there. So yeah. So what would Elrond say to the Skoda Elroq? What do you think? Recharging 11 kilowatt AC, and then with the big battery, 175 kilowatt DC peak, 10 to 80% state of charge in 28 minutes for the big battery. For the small battery, it would be 24 minutes, but the peaks are lower, but clearly because the battery capacity is smaller, that's why the charging is a little bit quicker than in that case. Top speed, by the way, here for the big battery at 180 kilometers an hour, 112 miles per hour. With the smaller battery, it would only be 160 kilometers an hour. Of course, as Germans, then we say, wait a minute, is that fast enough? It's maybe a German problem, but also due to that case, I would rather stick with the big battery. Of course, at really, really high speeds, then the consumption will go up. However, I can already tell you right now, at the end of the review, we will tell you more about the concise range today. Today, very mild temperatures still. The wind is just chilly, that's why I'm wearing the jacket. So we have very ideal conditions here, and also on the island we cannot drive too fast. So this will be probably the most efficient consumption we will score here today. Of course, if we go German Autobahn, higher speed, we'll go a little bit lower. But this has a potential of having a very realistic good range, I can already tell you so far. Does it have a frunk or not? No. Has a lot of good features, but a frunk does not belong to that. You can just refill some wiper fluid here. A heat pump, by the way, is available. It's an option though, for about €1,000. Of course, the markets sometimes have different packages. For example, with a lot of vehicles, always the case that the Scandinavian countries get the heat pump from standard, and in Southern Europe you have it optional. I would always take one because it usually makes sense, so especially then when you live in a country where you have some kind of winter, of course. And Leah has the privilege here today to show the most important feature of every Skoda, the hidden umbrella. You can put it in the driver's door or in the passenger door. Sometimes it's a little bit stuck. There we go. Yeah, always precious to have that one, not only against the rain, but also against the sun, actually. So can you show that?
On Instagram.
Okay. She doesn't want to unfold it because then you have to put it in again. That's always so much work. But for you, there we go, exclusively.
Oh,
Nice, right? Key fob, high gloss black. Yeah, not my favorite, honestly. Then door closing sound. That's really solid, nice. As well for the rear, maybe even better. Also interesting, by the way, I can show you that right now. Turn on the ignition here. Here in the front, I also have these dual lamination of the windows, so that's an acoustic proof, so to speak. Really nice. It's just in the front though, so in the rear it's the normal simple one. Then inside of the doors, here we have a nice structure on top. It's also, let's say, a little bit softened up, just a little bit. Turning off the ignition that we don't have the beeping sounds. Then some fabric inside here in this loft trim, different trims available, and also fabric cover here over the inside of the doors. We like that, definitely. Then let's check out the steering wheel, still with manual controls, like here the heating, and here this then for the volume, new lettering also on the steering wheel, perforation, and the seats. Once again, as I said, the loft trim means like this dark fabric. It's like a dark gray and some leatherette on the outside. The lodge trim would also be interesting. Then you have a lighter gray and leatherette mix. That's also cool. And Sportline with microfiber. Or you would also have base fabric seats, for example. And the steering wheel is animal material, and only if you go for the sweet trim level, not sweet as in candy sweet, but sweet as in the room sweet. That would also have animal skin then. But you have plenty of choices for the seats. Then here, lower, upper, up and down, steering wheel control, manual way is good. Rather tiny 5-inch digital instruments. Everything more set on the large infotainment, for example. And you can also get a head-up display. Here with 189, 602, a lot of headroom left. And in this case also then electric memory seats. Cockpit overview. Really clean and sophisticated, has a premium character. Here in this case with the fabric, but there are different trims available. Also it's structured and also soft here on the top dashboard, for example. Always 13-inch infotainment screen, not messing around with different sizes and so on. Different sizes. Yeah, and then we have here some deco elements in gray, for example. Also with this central design, there's ambient light integration and some hotkeys, real hard buttons in the lower part, where you then, for example, trigger some functions in the infotainment system again. For example, here when I go to the climate unit, it triggers this, or the drive mode selection. Then glove box falls down smoothly, so that's also dampened, really nice. The integration, also the gaps and so on. Here's some more fabric applications at the side. I like to see and feel these details here actually. Some more space in the front. Left side is an inductive charging pad. It's also cool. The right side doesn't really fit for normal phone sizes nowadays. So the right side is too small actually, and it's also not charging. Then here you have some cup holders. They have these dots, this Lego-like dots in the lower part that you can open the bottle with one hand, actually, that it gets stuck in the lower part. Then some space here, coin holder, typical German thing actually. And then here, some nice fabric on, yeah, it's also soft enough for your elbow. And then you have Tetris game. Oh, first of all, yes, of course. Secret Agent 007 here. You can spray then the infotainment system and then
maybe you can turn it.
Turning it off before would of course be more clever. That's what Leah would do, but since I'm not that clever, then yeah, I do stuff like that. But I can show you more Tetris game. Hey, I can play Tetris. I was really good with that on the Game Boy. So here, this one you can put out, and this one, and then there's this one. Yeah, and then huge space, and then could be maybe like a gigantic giant cigar ashtray as well. Yeah, but of course you don't want to do that. Interesting also here with the here with this honeycomb structure design. By that you can give more stability to a structure, yet at the same time you save material width or depth. So it's a nice example where in a normal piece here, here as well, you are inspired by nature, because most of the time nature does it best in efficiency and stability. Very interesting,
Thomas
right?
Story time.
Yeah, it's Thomas story time. So I could maybe do some David Attenborough episodes like with cars, like this very peculiar specimen. Okay, let's continue. Here, this seating position, by the way, I think it's good comfort from the seats. Also here, the shoulder support is really nice. So very good that already in a small car you have great seating comfort. However, if you now compare the Enyaq, I feel that as a tall person you still have more comfort there, especially here with the knees. So this is a very small area here between the steering column and here for my knees, like yeah. That's the passion of a tall person, but passion in a negative sense, or in a Jesus sense, you know, because yeah, that's the thing. In an Enyaq, I would sit a little bit more upright, higher, and then the knees are a little bit more stretched like this, you know. So this is where the Enyaq still has an advantage here over the Elroq. Gear selection is, by the way, here, backward, forward like this, and there's even more space here underneath. I can't see anything which is there any charger or something? No, but I can take out these here, so to clean them, or oh, wait a minute, you can use these as a tray. So when I serve Leah some food like this, yeah, as a sushi tray, for example, like this. Of course, you should never eat in a vehicle.
Oops.
Driver POV, once again here with the buttons and so on. Yeah, to change the instruments, you do it like here, but you can't change too much in the instruments, honestly. Just the positioning a little bit. However, you can also order a head-up display. You can see that better in real life than now because it's bright sun outside. And then the infotainment system itself is actually easy to learn. Well, the climate unit, I prefer physical dials. It's at least here, but also very small. So I would wish for an easier climate unit, honestly. This here for the seat heating, for example. Then some menus like good visualizations. It's also quicker. So they have learned, meanwhile, also in the infotainment system. This is a volume slider here in the lower part, but I would do it at the steering wheel. And pretty cool, we have set our own hotkeys, because when you are, you know, like when you press and hold this one here, you come to this personal favorites menu, and then you can also hold it here like this, and then you can set your own shortcuts here. So I can, for example, easier deactivate or activate the speed limit chime. I can also, why is my seat getting hot? Because I activated the seat heating for you. Yeah, okay, about that. And now, so here I can easily deactivate, for example, the lane keeping assist or the speed limiter and so on. So that's a cool thing. Or you have this full, done first though. Or you have the full menu here of the assistance system where you can also, for example, deactivate the stuff. And you have a very nice integration of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, wired or wireless. And route planning, so I calculate from Majorca to Madrid now actually here, and then suggesting one charging stop only. This of course the ferry here, this part, and then here there's one charging stop actually the car is automatically calculating. Let's take a look at the rear seats. First of all, we have a nice sunshade here that goes really wide, so that's actually cool. Then inside with some more fabric, just the lower part then is all hard pack. And here this where they integrate the grab handle from the inside is also interesting, isn't it? Then let's see how are they using that EV platform. First of all, ISOFIX outside each there, and you can just easily fold it on the passenger seat here. There's also, by the way, top leather behind, but also ISOFIX in the front, also good to know. Then we have the same fabric surface like in the front. We can fold down this here. Fold up these cup holders. They are not my favorite ones because they tend to squish the bottles then here a little bit. And this is here also open the ski hatch for example. Then in the lower part here, climate unit and seat heating when the ignition is properly on. Then in the middle part you have here these cup holders you can fold out, but you can also take out that whole thing if you rather want to profit from this even floor. And 2 USB-C chargers are there as well. And now the big question is, how much space is there left actually? So when I'm sitting here, there's enough legroom also to the seat as I'm driving actually, and headroom also no problem with one A9 6x2. So the usage of space is really good. And yeah, the Enyaq of course has more space here in comparison, the bigger one, but considering the exterior length, they have a very good interior space available here. You maybe see it that due to the battery pack, my feet are relatively high, so like the angle here, how I'm sitting, and also this bench is falling backward a little bit to offer you still this kind of legroom. So I would say there are more comfortable positions here in rear seats, but you know, like on a very high level already. So I feel cozy and comfortable here. Overall, that's fine. And once again, considering the exterior length, this is really good. Everyone get your popcorn and your drinks ready because now it's time for the boot or for the trunk section here of the Skoda Elroq. And you know with Skoda, they always have so many different features in the trunk or in the boot that you can show so many very interesting things with new, unique solutions here indeed. 470 liters it is, electric hatch, and let's start with the most significant feature here. There are always solutions where you can put the cable, and this is a new one that is here in the top part. So why not? Because there's no frunk in the vehicle as we've shown to you, and then here you have it stored underneath this shelf here, and then
or simply clever.
Oh yeah, simply clever marketing. And then you can still access the luggage and so on in an easy way. So that's actually good. So why not putting it there? Then this one here is, for example, for jackets, like coat or whatever, you can put in there. Of course, you can also put that thing out. That's also possible. You have here a mirror of 40 inches in... Whoa! Ah! I hate that. Good that there was the beep before. So that's a typical thing. That's why I hate the foot kick mechanism, because I wasn't really foot kicking. I was just standing here. And that is like what released it here, like the foot kick mechanism that just, you see? I mean, yeah, it's good that it works, but then when you just stand there and want to load in or out some stuff, it can actually kill you. Yeah, so, about that. That is live and Autogefühl, the most authentic experience for you. So the length here of the trunk, the normal one, is about 90 centimeters, 35 inches. The width, a meter or 40 inches. And yeah, the height, we gotta check it out very soon when we remove this one, because there are even more interesting things to come. So first of all, you have some hangers here you can fold out at the side. 12-volt power supply, more storage here. Then you have a side net available as well. And then you have this lower part, which is like this fabric cover, but you can just remove that completely for the normal trunk. You can, however, also put that to the other side, and then you have like this rugged side, which you can clean easier. And underneath, you have some more storage as well. Then there you have these splitters, so you can put these out, and then, for example, put them like here and secure some things, or just play Tetris with them. That's also possible. And a completely new feature is as well, to split it in height, we can actually move this whole thing there and there. Then we can push that one out, and we can set it actually then a level lower. But before that, I have to deinstall this. Yeah, that is exactly what I was talking about. Da, da, da. So, and then here I will move this, and a hand please. Thank you. So, and then, yeah, that's because the charging cable is of course at the moment also stored on these. Then I can set it here to a lower level, like this and this. And yeah, then I have a split in the trunk. I can put something on top, I can put something underneath. I can still fold it up here. That's all. There we go. So I can still fold it up like this. Yeah, I mean, why not? There's another net behind that. So what else is there? Which is like everything is possible here. And of course we can put that one out again. Yeah, if you are maybe like have some rage, aggression and so on, you just go to the trunk and like push some things around, then you're all eased again. So you don't need like a pressure relief ball or something like that. And then we can see here, I can measure the total height, which is at 75 centimeters. And now that it's all deinstalled, I can also fold the seats from here, like this and this. Then this one is a little bit annoying. I have some kind of step there. However, you can of course always take out these nets. You don't have to go for them. And the total length of the seats, as we would be driving, is 1 meter 60 or 1 meter 60 or 63 inches. Is there anything else? Anything?
No.
Do you see any more features? This could be it. There's a ski edge available, of course, if you just want to load things through. Yeah. Now I gotta install these things again and show it one more time in our German version, and then also for our vertical, like YouTube Shorts, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And then 2 hours later, I'm done. An acceleration from 0 to 90. Woo. Yeah, that was already quite nice here. Rear-wheel drive version, 85 version. Yeah, I think it's probably everything you need from the acceleration, right? Let me start with this one here. So when it's a tight turn, and this wasn't even like completely turned in, wow. So it's 9.3 meters the turning circle with the rear-wheel drive, 10.8 with the all-wheel drive, so it will be worse with the all-wheel drive, so stick with the rear-wheel drive version if you want to have the best turning circle. It's amazing. This almost feels like turning on standstill, or like if you have like a massive rear-axle steering or something like that. It's really amazing how narrow the turning circles are. Pretty cool. And then let's go to the motorway, show you some acceleration. There's no one behind us. We can also slow down a little bit more, that we can show you more of that acceleration. Let's start from 20 kilometers an hour and go to sport mode. Let's go. Yeah, that's 120. Really nice. Quick enough, I would say. 6.6 seconds here for the 85 version, how it is called, with the 77 kilowatt-hour battery. And it will be the same in the rear-wheel drive version and in the all-wheel drive version as for the acceleration figure to 100. Where the all-wheel drive version has a slight advantage is the area which is a little bit higher, so like 80 to 120 kilometers an hour. There, the all-wheel drive version is a little bit quicker. Yeah, I think in most cases you can live without, and probably better profit from this narrow turning circle from the rear drive version. And this is the one that we are also driving right here. 120 kilometers an hour, 70 miles an hour, and it's really silent here. That's, yeah, gets the Leah thumbs up for the silent interior. Nice, and you already feel that the driving feels very sophisticated. It feels like a grown-up vehicle. It feels like a, yeah, I would say it has some kind of premium touch already, yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, and also if you compare it to the ID3, it drives well, but this one feels a little bit more like going like in a circle, like everything fits to each other, you know. So the ID3 is a very nice car, definitely. This one here has more typical car atmosphere, whereas the ID3 has this rather, hey, hello, we are an electric vehicle atmosphere, you know. So what they've done here is to make it less EV in the feeling, so to speak. That's very interesting. Let's do some lane change, stay a little bit more on the motorway here. Yeah, nicely done. We also have the DCC here, dynamic chassis control. So in the sport mode, it's a little bit stiffer then. Yeah, it's really fun, nice and precise steering as well. That's pretty cool. Of course, when you're just running straight, you would rather stick to the comfort mode. Here you can press this hotkey in the lower part, use a hard key, then confirm it in the screen. You can also set the cruise control here. Let's see how it's being kept in the lane. So this is also with the active lane keeping assist. You gotta keep your hands on the steering wheel. Then the cruise control also has the traffic sign recognition. So now it reduced the speed automatically. I did nothing. And you see here there are no wild overcorrections or something. So everything very smooth, very sophisticated as for the assistance systems. There's also blind spot monitor integrated here in the side mirrors, for example. So that's well done as well. We can show that to you at a later stage. So everything feels really one, you know, like driver, car, and the road and everything. The only thing I sometimes feel when being on the motorway is that the lane keeping assist, even if the cruise control is not activated, sometimes interferes too much, as for my case, or as for my feel. So, however, you can also deactivate it. So what we've done here, as shown earlier, we made like a hotkey for the speed limit deactivation. You can also here easily deactivate the lane keeping assist, for example. So that would also be possible, and then it's gone, because yeah, I feel the lane keeping assist is sometimes a little bit too intrusive, you know. So I rather try to get rid of that one, and then it's actually fine. Then you can steer a little bit more freely. In the comfort mode, I would wish for a little bit more steering feedback, but what I could also do is, I've set here an individual mode where we have the DCC suspension all the way soft, best comfort, but I have the sport steering, so I have a little bit more feedback then. Yeah, Leah can show that to you as well if you can adjust, yeah. So we have here like all the way comfort for the DCC and steering to sport. And that's to me a very likable feeling, because now I have some more feedback in the steering wheel. Yet again, I have good suspension comfort. However, I gotta say though, even in the sport setting, the steering wheel could have more feeling for me. So it's not bad at all, the steering feel, but I would wish for a little bit more resistance. That's maybe also a matter of preference. Leah prefers when the steering wheels are a little bit lighter. Now here on the brakes, yeah, you feel, of course, the weight. That's a little bit deceiving, that it doesn't feel like an EV, like from the whole layout and everything, like how this car is being made. But then again, when you're on the brakes, you feel, okay, I have like a 300, 400 kilograms battery pack with me. Because, you know, you could think like, I'm driving a Skoda Karoq or something. And these electric vehicles here are very well made, very good cars, definitely. And they also have a lot of advantages with the EVs, of course, silent ride and so on, efficiency, no heat losses and so on. But the weight cannot be denied. You know, I always feel also on occasions where we drive the very same vehicle, which are sometimes available as petrol and as EV, and then you directly hop from one to another and you feel the extra in weight, and you cannot deny that, you know. So, and in most situations you don't feel too much from it, but you feel that, for example, in situations where you're really pushing that car into a corner, then you would actually feel that. Here now some left right. It's good, doesn't shake up too much and so on. How's it for you? Any yeah, sickness feeling or something? No, that's also always very important. You know, that always is combined with the setup of the vehicle. For example, we have 20-inch wheels mounted here on this very vehicle today, and together with the DCC, I think it's a fine setup. Also, when the road is a little bit uneven here from time to time, I feel that's well done. I would not go for the biggest wheels. There's also 21 available. I think that's a little bit exaggerated then for this very vehicle. And you also just lose some comfort. So as it is here, I think it's still a good compromise between like the sportiness feeling and also with the comfort. DCC I would always recommend for MQB, the combustion vehicles, and also for the MEB, like the electric platform, because the base suspension is relatively stiff because of the weight of the battery, and then if you have the adaptive suspension, you even it out a little bit. So I would not take a fully spec vehicle or something like that, but DCC, the adaptive suspension, is something I would really recommend you to have. I think that's very good choice. There's another one like in this Timiano green, probably waiting for an acceleration test or something like that, right? Yeah. But it's a very likable driving feeling here, very relaxed. I feel also that the suspension is more comfortable and softer than, for example, with the Skoda Elroq. So I feel the Enyaq has a stiffer setup, might have something to do that it's a little bit larger, also has more weight, because there were these initial questions like, hey, okay, it's the EV version of a Karoq. Yeah, the Karoq feels a little bit lighter to drive. It feels a little more SUV than this one here. This one I would say between SUV and crossover, but already more SUV-ish feeling than the ID3, so you sit a little bit higher. You feel that they are somewhat related, but as I said, the ID3 feels more lower and more EV-alike. This one here feels less EV-alike and more SUV-alike in comparison to the ID3. And then there was the comparison to the Skoda Enyaq, the bigger brother. And there here you feel you have a little bit more driving fun, more flexibility. It's a little bit smaller. You can put it around the corners a little bit more. So that's a positive then in the driving aspect, in the driving fun, definitely to me. From the seating position, I feel I have a little more room for my legs in the Enyaq. So if you are very, very tall, like me, you would be long-term in the driving, be happier with the Enyaq. If you're a little bit smaller, or not as tall, and if you say, hey, I just want a better parking spot in the city and so on, and I enjoy more the fun driving aspect, then this one here will make you happier than the Enyaq. So, but very interesting. Happy. Yeah, but it's really interesting then to rediscover all these comparisons and so on. And by the way, as for the recuperation, so usually it's set like nothing or reacts in a way of an adaptive cruise control, for example, that can reduce the speed, but you can also pull the like here this driving lever here to B, and now I have strong recuperation, almost like a one pedal. There's no one behind us here. So let's just see if it reduces to 0. Not quite, right? Not quite. So it's not stopping. It's not stopping, you know, at that point. So it rolls with 5 kilometers an hour. Yeah, yeah. So that's what you have as possibilities, and then you can switch through different recuperation levels with the shifting pedals as well. But that's so weird because you have to be off the gas for that. And then you can go 1, 2, 3. Now you're getting like closer to a stronger recuperation. I've never seen that. Maybe they thought about as a safety mechanism or something like that, but it's so weird. I cannot adjust it now. I have to go off the throttle and then I can adjust it again. Okay, about that. Then when you think about that, they reset the settings anyway after another startup, yeah, kind of weird. So probably you just leave it in the setting that is chosen by the car from standard. Yeah, but overall it's really nice here in the driving experience. Good balance of sportiness and comfort, silent enough. So definitely it just ticks all the boxes in driving, literally. As for the real world range, we had a consumption day in very good mild temperatures like 17, 18, 19 degrees Celsius, 68 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that, and also not too high speeds, and overall some 16.5 kilowatt hours on 1 kilometers. That's close to 4 miles per kilowatt hour, so good efficient result definitely. And that would be a real good range for the big battery here, 77 kilowatt hours net, of around 470 kilometers or 300 miles. So that's really decent indeed. Of course, will be then a little bit worse when you have like German Autobahn, higher speed and very cold temperatures and so on. But even in that case, some 400 kilometers or 250 miles should always be safe for the big battery. Pricing starts at 34,000 euros as a German entry price, for example, and that's very affordable. However, then with the small battery version, and I always say, I'm not the biggest fan of the small batteries. Well, on the one hand, it is better because you use less resources, so it's more sustainable on the one hand. On the other hand, I think it's not more sustainable because you buy a vehicle for a very specific use, as a secondary, as a third vehicle, just for city use and so on. So I always tend to go for the bigger battery because then you can buy one vehicle and can do everything with that vehicle. Because if you pick the big battery here, then you can also go higher range, soon coming to that, and you just need one vehicle for all the use purposes you can possibly think of. What do you think about this idea? Tell me in the comments. High spec here, big battery and all extras, like the most, you don't have to go for it, but maximum like 56,000 euros then. Yeah, that's of course then a different price, and then you also get into regions of other more expensive EVs. And if you go for a realistic one, I mean, you don't have to go 56, but then like high 40s or 50,000 euros is then clear. So it's still a very good EV here in the compact segment, but just looking at the list price, there's always the problem of Tesla still. If you think about 40,000 euros for a Tesla Model 3 with the entry-level version and a very good range already, yeah, then you start thinking, of course. However, then with the bigger battery here of the Tesla Model 3, it always gets a little bit closer than to here. But if you want this one here, because it's shorter and you can find a parking spot in a better way, for example, then this is a very competitive one. So at this moment here, at the recording of the video, yes, price performance, Tesla Model 3, Tesla Model Y is still extremely good, best in the price performance still. However, I think here the Skoda Elroq and the Kia EV3 recently launched, they are one of my favorite compact EVs because they offer good performance for the money. They have space on the inside. The whole concept is really convincing and so on. I would wish them to have also animal-free steering wheel to offer a full animal-free interior. The EV3 offers that. The Tesla offers that. A lot of other manufacturers like Renault and Mini and like a lot of manufacturers offer that today. Skoda not yet. Other than that, they have found very nice solutions and also like clever storage and so on. That's what I really like about this vehicle. Basically, it almost ticks all the boxes you can possibly have here for a compact EV. Or what do you think? And now compare the Kia EV3, or once again, you can never take it out of your consideration, the Tesla Factor.